Hi, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Elaine Marolakos Edelson with Astrology Mojo, and I hope you're feeling great and excited to be alive. What I have on the screen right now is the symbol of Mercury, the planet that represents communication, and the RX represents retrograde. And then to the right of that, I have Leo, the sign of Leo. It's a fire sign. So, hi, everybody. I'm glad you're here. In the next 30 minutes, I'm going to be talking about the Mercury in retrograde that occurs in the sign of Leo from July 25th through August 19th. But you want to add about 10 days either side for pre and post phases. And in about 15 minutes or so, I'll also be taking questions, so have those ready if you have any questions. And let's see, I'm just getting all my stuff here. So who is here with me today? I'll be talking, and you can be writing in the comment section. Oh, if you've seen any of my previous Facebook Live events, I've been talking about the solar and the lunar eclipses. The solar eclipse happened in Cancer, and that was on July 12th, and yet it is still in effect through at least September for many folks, depending on what's going on in your chart. Now, the Aquarius lunar eclipse, which just happened on Friday, July 27th, at 4 degrees of Aquarius, will also be in effect through September unless you have some Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, Taurus planets. Then you'll feel it even more. So the next eclipse that's coming up is the solar eclipse in Leo. That's on August 11th at 18 degrees of Leo. And we'll be talking about that in an upcoming Facebook live stream. And let's see. Oh, and because Mercury is now retrograde in the sign of Leo, and combination with that Leo eclipse, it's going to be really interesting for a lot of people. Let's see what else. Oh, quick reminder, the planets don't do anything to you. We live in a cooperation with our cosmos. And when the planets make a move, you feel it. And when the planets make a move, you feel it. It's not a puppet show. When you make a move, the planets reflect that in the heavens. So I'd like to help you get your mojo back by working with the sign of the times. And right now we've got 3 eclipses and 5 retrograde planets. And what that means is we're going in. We're really transforming. When the eclipses show up at your door, you can't hide. The transformation is at hand. So enjoy. Have a couple of cookies. Enjoy the ride. Do what you can. Book a massage. Okay. So as I said earlier, about halfway through, I'll be taking questions in about 15 minutes or so. But to get really specific with personal insights into exactly how to use all of these eclipses and the 5 retrograde planets, I'm offering private Mojo sessions. And you can see that in the upper right-hand corner of my page. And I'll be talking about the eclipses alongside the retrogrades as well, so that you can use these portals of transformation and get the life that you want and clear the decks. Okay, so just look for the Book Now button up on this page. All right, boys and girls, and those with alternate pronouns, some definitions are in order. Retrograde planets. Let's see. When a planet goes retrograde, it's as if it's moving backwards in the sky. That's what it looks like. And that's the perception that we have from our vantage point here on Earth. Typically, the planets move from east to west and through the constellations. And that's called prograde motion. And when a planet moves from did I say west to east? The planets typically move west to east, but when the planet moves east to west, the other way, it's called retrograde motion. And the sun is the center of our universe. So all the planets rotate around it on the ecliptic. That's what that's called. And it's an oval shape. So it's not a round, it doesn't go like this. It goes way out and about and around. And that's the the heliocentric perspective. Oh, hi, Elizabeth is here, and Marguerite. Hi, Greet. And Talitha, very pretty name. Welcome. We're talking about the Mercury in retrograde in Leo and what it looks like in the sky, what any retrograde looks like. And so because the sun is the center of our universe, retrograde motion happens when a faster moving planet catches up and passes the slower moving planet. Because as I said, and I should have some kind of graphic, I'll do that next time, a graphic where you have, here's the sun, and then here's a planet, and let me go this way, and it rotates around. I have to move my microphone. Okay. And it rotates around on the ecliptic. Some planets move out further into the universe, and some are closer to the sun. So are you dizzy? I am. Explaining it. Let's look at it another way. This is the simplest way. Imagine two airplanes in the sky. Okay, two airplanes, and they're both traveling at the same speed. And as they travel at the same speed, one airplane, imagine, is closer to you or to the Earth than the other, and the other one's further away. The one that's further away is going to have the appearance of going slower. So the one that's faster, the one that's closer is going to look faster. So they're both at the same speed, but they have traveling at different distances, and one's going to look faster. So the one that looks slower is going to look like it's going backwards. That's what a retrograde has the appearance of. It's our perception. Now, are you still with me? Thumbs up. I'm losing it. I'm losing myself here. Okay. And let me just show you this if you just showed up. This is what Mercury in retrograde looks like. I learned how to do fancy graphics in the past week. I've been scrambling on YouTube videos. How do I do this? And then this is what Leo, the sign of Leo, the glyph, the symbol, the astrological symbol of Leo is. And let me know, for those of you who are attending live, what is your sign? Let's see, okay, so Mercury retrograde, the RX represents the retrograde symbol. And then Leo looks like a lion with a tail, a big mane with a tail. And okay, so a couple of definitions. We've got Mercury represents communication. Now, it's not just how you talk or what you think about, but how you actually form thoughts and your synapses. Internal synapses based on your perceptions and experiences. Mercury also represents learning and teaching styles, your early educational years, and siblings, short journeys, and your perceptions. And hey, Garth. Garth is here too. Long time no see. And now I know Garth is not a Leo, but later on I'm going to talk about how men will come back into your life, especially during a retrograde, especially during a solar eclipse in Cancer and a solar eclipse in Leo, because they represent the masculine energy. So Leo is a fire sign, and it represents drama and melodrama. Now, what's the distinction? Because there is one, and it's a big one. Drama is what you've come to this earth to work out. It's plain and simple. Melodrama is what happens when you get stuck in a negative pattern and you spiral, much like a retrograde planet, going in and out, going back and forth. So that's melodrama. You want to stick closer to drama to work out your issues. Now, hi, Tony. We have a Sag, we have a Gemini, we have a Pisces, we have another Pisces, we have another Pisces with a Taurus rising. Okay, cool. So getting back to what Leo represents. Leo also represents the arts and entertainment, education and children's issues, inner emotional wounds, and leadership, and also a gregarious nature or a shy nature. It depends on the combination. If a person has Leo in their chart, I have a Leo moon. I like to be validated and recognized. So if I see that nobody is commenting, I'm thinking nobody's watching, and I just quit. No. Well, yeah, I used to think that way. Now I'll just make the video. So every once in a while, I'm going to ask for you to give me a thumbs up or a little heart or something, just to let me know that you're there. because my Leo moon looks for recognition. If a person has a Leo sun sign, but their rising sign might be Gemini, they would be much different than if a person were a Leo sun and their rising were Pisces. So you see the combination also accounts for many things. Wow, Pisces is in the house, Elizabeth says. Yes, indeed. Okay. Where was I? I interrupt myself often. That's okay. When Mercury in retrograde happens, you alter your perceptions, what you think, how you feel, because emotions and thoughts are usually coupled. When you have a thought, there is an emotion that is created. So sometimes you will ground an experience because of a thought that you have grounded in an emotion. Oh my God, that man is being that dog, and then suddenly you realize that the man is saving his son from a rabid animal. And then your thoughts and emotions swim in another direction. That was for all you Pisces. And then you're praising the man. Oh, he's such a hero. So wherever your thoughts go and you anchor it with an emotion, you're going to ground that as a perception. So you want to be careful and gather all the facts and the intel before you actually make a decision on something. If you have Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, Sag, or Aries planets, you will feel this retrograde the most. Also, if you have Leo in your natal chart, as in maybe you have Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, or Pluto in the sign of Leo, you will also feel this, and it will determine what comes back into your world. So, as I said in previous videos, that whenever there's a solar eclipse in any sign, you can witness the culmination of your past endeavors. And the message always comes clear. There's no stopping it. You can't hide in a closet. The eclipses portend transformation. So how would you like to transform? You do have a say in it. Sometimes if you're not operating on a more conscious level, things happen out of the blue. People call it, oh, a bad thing happened, or that was just so surprising in a negative way. So when things happen out of the blue, some part of your subconscious is coming to light. Some part of your inner workings are being transformed. And sometimes it's the past. It's karmic. It comes back. And not that karmic things make you do anything good or bad. And it's not like, oh, I must have murdered someone in Pakistan 5,000 years ago, so the IRS just came knocking at my door. Okay, yeah, that might happen, but overall, the more you are conscious about your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, what you're putting into the world, how you're contributing, you are going to get back so much more clarity around the thing that you are creating. So let's be conscious. Let's be present, everybody. I'm just referring to my notes. Fancy that. The messenger is known as Mercury, right? Messenger of the gods. So what does that mean for you? Well, perhaps you'll have an epiphany. Why not have a big aha? That would be great, right? And or a sibling might come back into the picture to share something. Or perhaps a close friend returns into your life to share information or to work something out. So many things can happen depending on your individual chart. Personally, as I said earlier, I'm a Leo moon. Now, and I've been working tirelessly, endlessly for months on an astrology masterclass downloadable program so you can learn how to read your own chart and become an expert at it in very simple ways. But as I'm writing the class, suddenly my attention is drawn in this retrograde, in these eclipses, my attention is drawn to some books over there on my shelf that I haven't opened in years. And so I start to rifle through them and I pour over the information. My past is coming back in big ways right now, and I'm revisiting what I've learned in the past 30 years and reviewing now what I believe as a professional astrologer. And, before I talk about tips on how to negotiate this Mercury in retrograde, if you've got any questions, I'll take one or two now. Oh, hi, Brittany. If anybody has a question about what Mercury in retrograde can actually accomplish, how you can use the retrograde to accomplish something in your life, I'm happy to do that. If you've got a personal question about if you know where Mercury is retrograde in your chart, Brittany is a Leo. So this particular Leo eclipse is going to be very big for Brittany. And also because of this Mercury in retrograde, Mercury represents technically a male gender. It can be brotherly. It can be a friend. It can be someone who is transgender. It can, because the energy, moves. It's a very mutable energy. So if you have an attachment to anyone in your life, a sibling, a friend, a lover, or a child, a parent, anyone who is a Leo, or you're connected to, but you've been estranged from or separated from, you're going to be hearing about them or hearing from them in the days to come. Oh, hi, Teresa. Teresa just showed up. Okay, now, before I go any further, it's so dry out here in Arizona, and I had the air conditioner and the fan on, so now I'm choking on dust. All right, tips on how to negotiate this retrograde. Number one, you want to allow for extra time. No matter what you're doing, where you're going, you can rest assured that the typical route that you usually take to get to work, to get to the store, to get to the market, there's going to be construction. Or suddenly they're rerouting the roads. So I always make a personal note to bring food and water with me as if it's survival training on the road, because out here there's long stretches of places where there's nothing. So, if I need to use the facilities, I better go before I get in the car. Same thing with this retrograde. Because it's in Leo, remember, Leo represents children and education. It represents siblings, also drama or melodrama. We don't want melodrama. Remember, we don't want melodrama is when you get stuck. If you're just tuning in, melodrama is when you get stuck in a negative spiraling pattern. And drama is what we've come to this earth to work out. So let's not get too stuck on melodrama. That's best left to entertainment, which Leo is also great at. Or movies, or, TV shows, or Judge Judy. Is she even still on? I don't know. But you know what I'm talking about. Okay. Allow for extra time when traveling. Bring snacks. And always pause before you get in the car. Do I have my keys, my wallet? Do I need to take a list of something? What if I can chunk all of my activities together so that I'm not having to go back out and go back to the library or to the supermarket, or, pick up the kids and I forgot to drop off something at somebody's house, so make a list of things. Lists are fabulous in retrogrades if you remember to take them with you and actually read them. Oh, hi, Therese. Okay. Also, as you pause, as you shift from gear to gear, you want to not stockpile your to-do list. This is, if you get frustrated over, I have to get that thing done. Well, step back. Ask yourself, this is a retrograde, which means literally to step back. Do I have to get it done today? Do I have to do that now? While I'm thinking, right now, I just remembered I was supposed to make a phone call this morning, and I'm going to make a note right now to make that phone call after this is over. So, what's hysterical? On my screen, I don't know why it's popping up. Technology will go awry in retrogrades. So a little window just popped up on my screen and asked me if I want to enable dictation. I didn't press any buttons. I didn't do anything except talk. I'm just going to click not now. But wasn't that kind of my computer to ask? So pause before you do things. Ask yourself before you get frustrated, is it absolutely necessary that this thing has to happen now? Now, if any of you have children, or if you work with children, this is a big time as well, because children will be undergoing a huge transformation, but they're not always able to articulate what that is. So if you're constantly trying to work your will on a child, or have them do something that they're not willing to do, that's when you want to get real. That's when you have to put the agenda aside. That's when you have to sit down and talk to this child or the classroom if you're a teacher and say, what's actually going on? How are you feeling? How did you sleep last night? Did you have any dreams? If they're old enough to understand that. So you want to get more aware of reducing melodrama and stopping the spin before it moves into an argument. Because that, with all these retrograde planets and 3 eclipses, it can be so spontaneous. It's like spontaneous combustion. There can be fire in somebody's words that instead of thinking about it, you react, and then you bust a move, and then they come back at you, and then suddenly there's all this energy, and you're thinking, what just happened? So we want to keep it calm. Always remember to step back, pause, take a breath. Assume nothing in a retrograde. Ask for clarity. Just last night, Aaliyah wanted some orange chicken from the local Thai restaurant, so Dean went out and got it and came home. We opened the package. It was shrimp with orange sauce. Okay, that wasn't even on the menu. She liked it, they liked it, so that was great. And then we asked Aaliyah, do you want to send it back? And Aaliyah said, no, it's delicious. So surprise, I got something I wanted, and it wasn't what I asked for. So, but you want to check, always check before I interrupt myself again about devices, I'm going to get back to that. Ask questions of the storekeepers and make sure you're not distracting people. If you have to visit a doctor or a dentist, make sure not to start chatting. Let them do their thing. Let them stay focused. And remember to always ask, oh, did you remember to blah, blah? Did you remember to do this? And they may say, oh, good thing you reminded me, I forgot. So this way you get to dot your I's and cross your T's. So I don't recommend surgery during this time, but if you have to, you have to. And trust that you'll get your needs met and that things will happen in a higher realm for your consciousness to transform. That's the whole point of this. Now, just keep receipts. If you buy something during a retrograde, and you have to, great. I don't advise purchasing new items that are huge purchases like technology, cars, appliances, that kind of thing, because they tend to not be what you asked for or don't work the way you expected them to. We bought a microwave last retrograde because our microwave oven broke. And so my husband didn't want to wait 6 weeks. So I said, fine, just save the receipt. So we got it and we turned it on and it only worked on 1 speed. And so we had to send it back. But here's the thing. We did not throw the box out because I am huge about saving boxes in the shed, especially for appliances. Do not throw that box out. We're saving it for 6 weeks minimum. Okay, so save your receipts and no interrupting people when they're working on your life, your banking, your medical, your hair. If you get your hair cut during a retrograde, it's really important that you not get lost in the chatter because suddenly they keep going or they're using a product that you asked not to use last time and they forget. So it's simple stuff, but just assume nothing in a retrograde and ask for clarity. Be diligent about checking things, especially if you're doing banking online. If you can, do it in person. If you can't and you do it online, make sure you get a receipt and that you double check your account soon after you make that deposit or that transfer, and you keep on it to make sure that the payment was made, that you have a record of that payment, and that nothing hinky happened. So just be aware of that. What else is in my notes? Let's see. What's really great in a retrograde? When you're just shopping and you're just walking around or you're just talking to people. We're having a lot of building going on here in Sedona and in the village where we live. And so if you walk into a store, we live near a Tuesday morning, and right next to that is a whole complex that's being built, but we didn't hear anything about it. We knew nothing. So I went into Tuesday morning about a week ago, and I started chatting with one of the shopkeepers, and they were very open to discussing things because people are in a retrograde. And so I said, well, what's going on next door, and what's being built, and how long is it going to take? And, and so I got the lowdown. I know exactly when everything's going to happen, what restaurants are going into place, what the time frame is, et cetera, et cetera. So there's great information that can be had in a retrograde. There is a question: would you book vacation now or wait till Mercury goes direct? Well, if you know what's interesting, in a Venus retrograde, which I'll talk about in the future, live streaming, because we're going to have a Venus retrograde in October. Venus retrograde is great for finding antiques if you know what you're looking for. In a Mercury in retrograde, you can get the best deal on something because people make mistakes. Now, someone might post, oh, my Airbnb is only going to be $229 for the week. And what they meant to say was $629. So if you book it, you have a better chance of getting the better rate if someone makes a mistake. So you can do that. If you do book something in a Mercury in retrograde, you can just about bet that the very next time retrograde comes around, and retrogrades happen about 4 times a year, that something will change. You'll get a notification from the airline saying that your dates have changed, the time of the flight has changed. So just expect that. And if you're flexible, then it's okay. If it's a very specific time frame that you're under when you're traveling, then I would wait if you can. But again, you could find great deals that you weren't expecting in a retrograde that go away the next day. They're just there, they blip, and they're gone. So if you can do that, and you know what you're looking for, and you know how much things cost, and you know the value of something. Remember, this is a Leo retrograde. So Leo means entertainment. It means having this urge to be very tenacious about something. So you may say, oh, darn the retrogrades, full speed ahead, and go for it. And just keep researching. But if you save a page, I would recommend you save a page that has sales, or that you copy things, or that you call right away. Because if you go back, your computer may not have saved the history of that page, and you're thinking, where is it? And you spent 3 hours looking for it. So if you can be on it and complete something in a retrograde, which is my next point, if someone asks you to do anything in a retrograde, a project, maybe to help them with something, I think it's really important that if you say yes, that you complete what you've been asked to do within that time frame. Mercury retrograde is July 25th through August 19th. Remember, add 10 days either side for the pre-phase and the post-phase when things start to alter in rotation and perceptions change. And then you can reboot your brain and your computer and all your technology. So I went completely blank. You see what happens in a retrograde? Okay, so I'm serious, I went completely blank. I have to look at my notes. I totally forgot what we were talking about. I was 6 sentences ahead. Wow, that's so funny. Okay, it left me completely. Anybody want to type in the comment box what I was just talking about? That would help tremendously. Oh, it's just funny. I'm going to let it go. And that's the thing. You can't get frustrated in a retrograde because it comes and goes so quickly. It's like, oh, squirrel, what just happened? And that just happened. Did that just happen? Yes. Oh, I have to tell you a story. When you're getting information in a retrograde, here's something fascinating. What's meant to come out as truth in a retrograde comes out in big ways. And here's an example. Many years ago, my husband, Dean, was going into business on a short deal in a real estate matter. And I wasn't clear about this man. And I wasn't very keen on him. And I couldn't get clear on this person. And so he sent his assistant an email. And in the email, he said something about how he was going to handle Dean and what he was going to share and what he wasn't going to share with Dean. Well, whoops. Instead of sending the email to his assistant in the Mercury in retrograde, he sent it to Dean. And our mouths dropped open. And we were looking at, well, who did, the subject line, who did he send it to, the time of day. And it was talking about Dean, and Dean confronted him. And, busted, right? Or as our cosmic child, Aaliyah, would say, petty, sneaky hoe. Dean stopped doing business with the man, and we, that was it. We were done. So truth does come out in a retrograde. Elizabeth, I love you. If you agree to do something for someone, thank you so much for listening and paying attention. If you agree to do something for someone in a Mercury in retrograde, make sure you finish that thing in the time frame. Because if you don't, you're going to be kicking yourself when the retrograde is over and you've just agreed to the PTA that you would make 500 paper mache name tags or something. Because you're not going to want to do it. You're not going to have time for it. Life suddenly shifts in perspective and energy shifts when and I'm going to segue. Thank you for that, Elizabeth. I so appreciate you. When there are 3 eclipses, let alone one eclipse alters the sense of time. Suddenly you're somewhere. You ever have that feeling where you say, oh, wow, that went by fast. That was so fun. I wish it lasted longer. Well, double that, triple that. During an eclipse phase, now we're in 3, what happens is you suddenly feel that something is taking forever, or that it went so fast you can't believe. My sister came home from her eclipse vacation, we call it. She is a Cancer, and during the solar eclipse in Cancer, on her birthday, she was in Colorado. I didn't even get a chance to talk to her about it, and then a few days ago, before she had to go back out of town, I said to her, oh, how was your vacation? And she said, I don't know. I blinked and it was over. She said it was the weirdest experience. We had a great time. I even asked my husband, we had a great time, right? Because I don't remember being there. It goes so fast. And so your perceptions, remember, are altered. Now, the whole purpose of a Mercury in retrograde is to go within, to ask yourself, am I done with this thing yet? Because the past will come back, people will come back, thoughts will recur, situations that you thought you had dealt with will return if they're not completed. And so in any retrograde, the past will come back. So when Mercury is retrograde, it's usually centered around your communication. Perhaps someone, maybe you and someone had a conversation a while ago and it comes back. Maybe someone comes in to say, I thought about what you said months ago and I'm just giving you feedback. Great. So you want to establish for yourself whatever comes back. If it's a person, if it's an idea, if it's a situation, you revisit it, you review it, reestablish, renegotiate if that's appropriate, or release that information. Maybe you're done. That's all you need to ask yourself. Am I done? And if not, you go through the process of working things out. So, you could be cleaning the back of your closet in this retrograde. And this happened to me so many times in every retrograde. I'll be cleaning something and a photo of someone fell out of a book. I hadn't seen this person in years. And a week later, they find me on Facebook. So I saw the photo first, and then they contacted me on Facebook. I was like, what? Wow, I love that synchronicity. So, and we caught up, we chatted, we caught up, and that was it. And I thought, I think I'm done. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Bless and release. That's the whole thing. Now, let's see what else. Are there any questions that I can take for you while I take a sip of water? Any questions about this retrograde or what's going on in your lives right now, or any people coming back? My sister and I call them sightings. People from the past always come back. They show up. In fact, a few days ago, a friend of my mother's called me to give condolences. My mom passed away in December, but this woman was in a remote place in Greece and without a phone. And so she just came back into the States, and she called me to express her condolences. So that was one of my sightings. And has anyone in your life come back? Okay, we have yes. We have nothing yet. Okay, so give it time. here we come through this month with 2 eclipses. The lunar eclipse we just had, we're still in the energy of through September. And the solar eclipse in Cancer we had at the onset of July. And we're still in that, so expect the unexpected. And remember, folks, I can cover all of the eclipses and the 5 retrogrades in one personal private Mojo 30-minute session for only $97. Just click the Book Now button on this page in the upper right-hand corner. And because this retrograde is in Leo and it's coupled with the solar eclipse, as I said earlier, be not surprised. I'm actually re-watching Game of Thrones for the 3rd time, so can you tell? Be not surprised if a man comes back into your life because of the solar eclipse in Cancer and the solar eclipse in Leo. They may or may not be Leo, Cancer, Leo rising, Cancer rising, but they definitely will have an impact on your future, and you're going to be thinking, am I ready? Am I ready to move forward with this person? Am I done with this person? Do we need more things to hash out? Do we have to work on things? And Tony says 2 females, no males. Okay, well, here comes the lunar eclipse. I'm sorry, the solar eclipse in Leo, which we'll talk about in a future Facebook streaming. And Leo typically represents a man, although a lot of Leo women can be very tenacious and very strong and very much like having the masculine energy. But because there's so many eclipses, people from your past will be coming back, let's just say that. And how they might affect you is going to be, mind-blowing or, oh, hey, nice to see you. It could be that simple, and then it's done. Because we have 5 retrograde planets, as a reminder, retrograde means to step back and to move in. So things are not as intense, as they might be if they were all direct. When something is direct, it's in your face. When a planet is direct, the energy represents what is in your face. When a planet is retrograde, it represents the things that you need to discover from within. That thing that has been, here and you haven't fully dealt with it. And maybe it's not timely. You can't force an issue. And that's why we have retrograde planets. They bring up the past in very unusual or very simplistic ways. It could be a phone call, an email, a thought. You wake up, you had a dream. And that spurs this feeling of, how do I feel about this? What do I want to do about this? And sometimes you don't do anything. Sometimes you can't do anything. Sometimes it's just about negotiating your own feelings. So, let's see, what other things did I want to touch on? Oh, I will be back on Wednesday, looking at my calendar, August 1st at 11 a.m. Pacific, and that's 2 p.m. Eastern. And I'll be talking about the Mercury. No, I won't. I'll be talking about the Mars in retrograde squaring Uranus in Taurus. And we're feeling it now. There are more fires on the earth. There's more temper tantrums happening with everyone. There's more accelerated growth. And then it comes back in the retrograde. And then there's, I got to do this. And then it comes back. There's a lot of impulse buys. There's a lot of impulse blurting and commentary. So we're going to talk about that and what it can mean for you. Let's see. So that's going to be Wednesday in just 2 days. So I hope you can make it August 1st right here, Facebook Live, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. That's right. I had to count and add both times, 2 p.m. Any last questions before I wrap this up today? Anything about the Mercury in retrograde? Nope. Okay. So I want everyone to take note of recurring patterns of feelings, as if you say to yourself, I got an urge to do something melodramatic. I got an urge to, yesterday, personally, I have a progressed sun. I'm a Taurus, but if you're into astrology and you understand, if not, that's okay. I have a progressed sun in Cancer. I was craving dairy like crazy yesterday. I ate a block of cheese this big, and I let myself. And now, of course, I feel like I weigh 6 tons, but that's okay. I nurtured myself. But it's been a long time since I've had any cravings because I eat really well and work out a little bit. I'm going to be doing that more, but my whole body is going through this change, and I noticed that a lot yesterday, especially with the lunar eclipse at 4 degrees of Aquarius is directly opposite my moon. So my emotional self, in this household alone, either we're tired, we're wired, we can't sleep, we're up. Aaliyah has been having, and so have I, wild dreams. And then we wake up and we're still dreaming and we're walking through the room as if it's still happening. It's very strange. And so we want to use these eclipse energies as portals of transformation. So if you get the urge to go backwards in your behavior, if you ever had a craving or the need to do something so spontaneous and outrageous that is not healthy or that is detrimental to someone's well-being or your own well-being, then that's when you need to step back, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what would happen if I didn't do this thing? What happens if I do this thing? Am I done with this behavior? Because the behavior is just a symptom of what's really going on in your unconscious, non-conscious self. So deep down, there's an impetus to do something. And that might be, let's say you have to have a job interview and it's been years and suddenly you feel 13 again and you feel insecure and you start to act out sideways. Your whole being will be mixed with feelings of excitement, of terror, and then you'll want to go backwards and find replacements for healthy behavior. You'll want to, find addiction, or you're going to want to find moments of depression where you say, well, my gosh, I thought it was over. It's back. Why is it back? I thought I was done. And so if you're not done, before you get exasperated, remember all this Leo energy is going to want to get melodramatic. So, jazz hands, go dance, literally go have a dance. We watched a movie last night. We hadn't seen the second Hunger Games in a long time. So we all watched and we were all commenting. We were so into it. So watch the drama and take it out of your body. Put it into something else. Music, movies, if you have a VR headset, go do something, kill some zombies or something. But instead of enacting it in your own life, ask yourself, it's back. Why? Do I feel afraid? You remember the Cancer Leo eclipse is you want to nurture yourself. The Mercury retrograde is thoughts will come back that are dramatic, or thoughts will come back that are so creative. Maybe suddenly you want to take singing lessons. Okay, something like that is amazing. Go do it. Whether or not it's an eclipse or retrograde phase, anything that helps your well-being, helps you to feel expansive, creative, sharing and contributing with others, and becoming part of the global solution, even on a small scale, whenever you put love into the world, without agenda, without working your will on someone else, making someone do something because it makes you happy but not them, that's not love. That's an agenda. So you have to question these things as they arise. And for the most part, when you're living your life in this retrograde or the series of eclipses, you know deep down what's real. You know when you've just spoken out of turn, or when you've just hurt someone's feelings, or when you stepped on someone's toes, or when you could have offered information or help and you didn't because you thought, I don't want to get involved. But deep down you think, I had the answer. I could have given it to them. And that's okay too, not to judge yourself over it, but to be aware of who you are and who you are becoming. All right, thank you so much for being here, everyone. I'll be back in 2 days. We'll be talking about the Mars in retrograde. Have your questions ready. And as always, I wish you peace. Be sparkly, stay present, and I'll see you here on Wednesday. Be well. Oh, wait, Marguerite just had a question. I'm in the midst of building a house. Will this retrograde delay me in any way? Well, if you started in a retrograde, perhaps, but because you're in the retrograde, there might be some delays. Congratulations, first of all, on building that house. How awesome. And if you have to make decisions on style or certain fabrics or colors, you may want to take your time with that and think about it again and look at things in different lighting and look at things at different days after you've eaten, when you just woke up. So because different times of day, you'll have different perceptions. So you will have delays because suddenly you'll have it scheduled where the contractor will come and suddenly their car breaks down or their truck breaks down or the materials that they ordered didn't come in. So things like that will happen, but it's not horrible, right? It gives you extra time to see what you need to be doing. All right, folks, be happy, be sparkly, and I will see you on Wednesday. Be well.